Welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but you really wanted to. My name's Claire Donald.
And my name is Tess Bellomo.
And welcome to what our podcast is really all about, Women's History Month.
We have made it. We are transitioning. We're doing a very intense transition.
Transitioning out of Kennedy's month has been tough.
But I do feel like we're craving a little bit of softness, a little feminine energy.
Yeah.
And this is a really nice way to start the month.
So we have some really amazing women to talk about this month, and we are kicking it off with none other than Joan Didion herself.
I'm so excited because I know literally nothing about her life.
A place that we always love to start off is starting from scratch. So, okay, nothing.
I'm like, am I a fool? Because
No.
I truly, I think when I think of Joan Didion, I think of you.
Wow.
Because you have her books. If you're watching on YouTube, look at Claire's beautiful collection.
Yeah, we really zhuzhed up the studio today.
We did. We're going to continue doing that. So please send us some stuff.
Yes.
Send us some artwork. I think some people are it's in the works.
Well, we have one of our Rammies artwork right here because one of our Rammies drew me a hummingbird. If you're new here, there was a hummingbird that made a nest outside of my window this past summer, and it became my whole personality.
I mean, it was special. And hummingbirds are very representative of good things.
They were. And you know what? I was going through something. Okay. And
You were like, I need this hummingbird more than you know.
No, actually. And I decided to name her Joan Didion. So Joan Didion is our third co-host. And one of our Rammies drew her. So she's up in the studio.
Gorgeous. But yeah, I couldn't even tell you a fact because I'm just like, who is this woman? I know she's chic.
Talk about the ultimate California cool girl.
Is she like Joni Mitchell adjacent?
Well, she's not. She was in California at the same time as her.
Okay, because that's a connotation I have, and I'm like, I don't know if that's accurate.
Well, both writers, both women, in LA at the time.
We love that.
Yeah, we do. So kind of.
Okay, well, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, great. Well, Tess, we're going to get into Joan Didion, why she is significant, what she means to us. There's so much Ram crossover in this episode, by the way. I was just like, wow, she is so Ram-coded.
Oh, well, we love that.
We do. Okay, so let's get into our girl, Joan Didion. So, Tess, Joan Didion, since you're starting from scratch, I won't make you guess her astrological sign unless you want to give it a go.
I thought two things last night before
Okay.
I went to bed. Either Cancer or Aquarius.
No, I like the fact that she's not an Aquarius to me is crazy. Such a good guess. Joan Didion was born in Sacramento, California on December 5th, 1934.
Oh, she's a
Sag.
Oh, I was like, not Capricorn.
Not a Capricorn, she's a Sag.
She's a Sag. Okay, well, she's out and about. She's doing her thing.
I looked up her chart and I believe she's also a Sag moon, so she's got a lot of fire.
And like an extrovert?
No, not at all, which is so interesting.
Interessant.
I know. She is quite opposite of that. Something that is such a theme in Joan's life is that she was the observer. She wasn't the center of attention, but she was always watching what was going on.
Well, that's a good trait to have.
Yeah, especially if you're a journalist.
That's true.
It is. So her parents were Eugene and Frank Didion. Her dad was a finance officer in the Army, and then he eventually started selling insurance. He took up gambling.
Oh, well, God, don't they all? This has just been the theme of 2026. It's and then he was drunk and gambling.
It's just fathers in history.
I guess so.
Yeah. And he eventually started working as a real estate developer. But when he was in the Army, the family was constantly moving and she was an Army brat. And her father was quite depressed when she was growing up. And she said she didn't even realize that he was depressed because it was just so the MO until she got older and she was like, wow, that is depression.
Wow. God, that is sad.
Really tough. And I'm sure with her father being like this and with her family moving so much as a kid, Joan was really shy. She was a deeply anxious girly. Hear that. And she was hyper observant. And she later said that moving frequently as a child made her feel permanently displaced and like a perpetual outsider.
I truly can't imagine. I really can't imagine. I know so many people go through that of just different school districts, different cities.
I lived in my mom lived in the same house for 31 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I moved houses quite a bit. I think I moved maybe 8 times as a kid. And even that for me, you can imagine. Mental breakdown every time. Even if it was 4 blocks away. I was how could you do this to me?
You're talking to earth signs right here.
Oh my God. It was devastating. So I truly have so much empathy for kids that have to do that.
Yeah. And it definitely affected her. She felt like she was always watching rather than belonging. And like we were saying earlier, it is crucial because Joan's identity from the start was built on observation rather than participation. She was never I need to be the center of attention. which also cannot relate.
What's that like?
So when she was young, her mom gave her her first notebook when she was 5 years old with the suggestion that Joan stop whining and learn to amuse herself by writing down her thoughts.
I thought it was going to be something like really sweet of like, my darling girl, you have a brilliant mind. It's true, like, shut up. Sit down and shut up.
Literally, she's like, you're bored? Then like write out your thoughts and feelings. I can't help you.
I mean, I don't blame any parent.
Well, especially this is the time where children are to be seen, not heard.
It's like, no iPads yet.
No.
Like, what's a girl to do?
Well, God, and like the creativity that can come from that, which is exactly what we see with Joan. So she gets her first notebook, and her first ever entry is an account of a woman who believes herself to be freezing to death in the Arctic night, only to wake up and realize she has stumbled onto the Sahara Desert where she will die before lunch.
She wrote this at 5 years old?
She wrote this at 5 years old.
But you know what? When you are like 5, like around that age, you can kind of say or you can imagine anything. And sometimes it is the darkest things ever because you're like, who cares? Before you know, like, how people will take that.
Well, exactly. Imagine her mom being like, I wonder what Joan wrote down today. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Always oh my God. Always a little scary when you go back to your childhood notebooks.
And it's like death.
I mean, truly a lot of death stuff.
Yeah, well, Tess, that didn't actually come out of nowhere. Her dad was very depressed. Her mom was the one that was more vocal and would like tell Joan and her brother Jim all of these stories. And one of the stories was how their family arrived in California. Her family traveled with the Donner Party to California.
Stop it right now. What are the odds?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Guys, listen to our Donna Party episode. It's one of our best OG episodes ever. Like, you will laugh the entire... Were we high for that episode? Maybe
we were not.
No, we felt like it, maybe.
Which, yes, the Donner Party is an episode about cannibalism, but we did laugh.
Of course, because you have to find the humor in the darkest things.
And the darkest things.
It seems like Joan maybe did that as well.
Yeah, so her family traveled with the Donner Party, but they parted ways when the Donners insisted on taking the uncharted shortcut.
They were like, fuck no. They're like, you guys are crazy.
You guys are wild for that one. So Joan's family, thank God, carried on, and they eventually made it to California, but her mom would tell her these stories when she was younger, so then she is like, death.
She's like, oh, let's talk about hypothermia.
Yes.
So my family went through so much.
So she is a true California girly. Like, her family has been around in California since the Donners.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I feel like you're going to feel connected to her as
well.
I
already do.
She was very into reading and writing when she was younger, and she would type out Ernest Hemingway's work to learn how his sentence structures worked.
Well, that's intense to go through.
Well, I also was like, wow, that's amazing. What I could get done if I didn't watch TikTok as I log on to TikTok.
I know, but you're doing a bunch of creative stuff right now, so don't even say that.
I guess that's true, but I'm definitely not writing out Ernest Hemingway's sentences.
Well, who has the time?
He's actually her only cited source of inspiration for literary work.
Real? God.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, him?
Well, out of all people, I actually don't know much about him, but
I don't
know with Love and Light, I don't know if I want to.
I think was kind of the worst.
Can you imagine?
But also, a bunch of white men are going to be new to this podcast and hear us say that and be like, I can't believe they would say that.
We are excited for the comments that we're about to receive. Hello, YouTube. We know we've been watching you guys.
We've been watching you.
You got an attitude, but we still love you.
So anyways, one day when she was younger, they were snowed in. And her mom gave her several old copies of Vogue to keep her company.
Ooh.
Which is also kind of ram-coded.
That is, of course.
And then she points out this essay competition to Joan that Vogue had. And it was called the Prix de Paris. And it was an essay competition. And the first prize won you a job at Vogue in either New York or Paris.
Why we keep learning about this, that Vogue was just sending out a bunch of free shit, like opportunities.
They're like, hey, girlies, come work for us.
Like Jackie Kennedy going to Paris for a year.
Exactly.
Why don't Vogue, you should keep doing that. We'd like to maybe apply to something.
How iconic. You could do that.
Ooh.
Which is exactly what Joan's mom said to Joan. She pointed out the essay competition and she was like, you could do that whether you end up living in New York or Paris, whatever you wanted, but I know that you could win this contest if you entered it in. She's like, I read that dark shit.
So she like believes in her.
Yes, she really encouraged her writing.
Good.
Joan ends up attending UC Berkeley.
Hot, smart school. Just talking about Berkeley last night.
Well, you're always talking about like
colleges. Well, my brother went there for a couple years.
I know. Well, apparently Joan applied to Stanford and didn't get in.
Who gets into Stanford? Who are the people? If you guys know anyone,
let us know.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Our Stanford Rammies, let us know.
Do we have Stanford Ramneys?
I'm sure,
Guys,
right?
I would be tickled.
Same. So drop it in the comments. But so she ends up attending UC Berkeley, and she graduates with a degree in English in 1956. And during her senior year, she writes an essay on San Francisco architect William Worcester. Do you know him?
That sounds actually kind of familiar.
Our San Francisco girly.
Yeah. I feel like there's been some like tour that I've been on before where it's like this guy.
This guy.
This guy.
Well, she wrote an essay on that guy, and she ended up winning the Prix de Paris, and she gets offered a job at Vogue.
That is so chic. Have you read the essay?
No, I have not. So she was offered a job at Vogue, and she moves to New York City at 20 years old, and she said it was very thrilling to me, naturally.
I mean, so this is in the 50s?
This was in 56.
At this point, is New York, like, we went through it in New York in like 30s and 40s. Are we seeing the light now in the 50s?
I think we are seeing a light in the 50s. And again, she is moving from Sacramento and Berkeley vibes. So it's completely different. So you have this like California girl going to these East Coast intellectuals. And she was so excited to be around like models and millionaires and magnates. Like it was a completely different time for her.
I bet she like showed up in Birkenstocks and was like, oh, you can't wear those here.
Exactly. Like that was the vibe. So she goes to Vogue, and her first piece that she wrote was titled Self-Respect, Its Source, Its Power.
Oh.
I feel like you're really going to like how she got this. So originally this piece, they had the title of this piece, Self-Respect, Its Source, Its Power, on the cover of Vogue. And I guess it was probably about to go to print or something, but the writer backed out. So they already had the title on the cover of Vogue. So they were like, hey, Joan, you need to write an essay about however you interpret this title.
Oh my God, the pressure.
The pressure, but what a
But
cool
that's
writing
fun,
exercise.
though. And that's actually kind of nice like when there's a prompt. That's so interesting.
So she ended up writing this article, and I have read this article before, and it was quite revolutionary, I would say, for this time, because Joan was telling women of the 60s, your worth and your self-respect cannot come from the outside. It has to come from you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Aren't we all still trying to, you know,
Exactly. Because
get there?
Women are constantly conditioned to monitor ourselves constantly through the eyes of how others are perceiving us. And Joan was like, ladies, that's emotional dependency.
You are never going to get anywhere satisfying with that outlook, are you?
Exactly. She was like, self-respect is emotional independence. And at this time, articles in Vogue were mainly about fashion and makeup and all of that. So
Like
here
how to
comes,
keep your husband happy, probably.
exactly. And here comes Joan Didion being like, you got to learn how to respect yourself.
And at 20 years old, I was not even thinking about self-respect at 20.
No.
Kind of the opposite.
I was very much practicing the opposite Tess. Yeah, you got that right. So when she's at Vogue, she spends 7 years working her way up from copywriter to editor.
Oh my God.
Anna Wintour was interviewed in her doc.
What?
Crossover.
This is like, once again, I thought that we were just going to be in like the 40s the whole time. I did not know any time frame.
Well, she didn't work with Anna Wintour, but I think that Anna really admires Joan, and like Joan working at Vogue is huge.
Wow. Was she like getting paid decently, or was it kind of like was she taken seriously there?
I think she was taken seriously there. Yeah. While she's living in New York, working at Vogue, she is homesick for California, though. She would work all day at Vogue, and then she would come home to her almost empty apartment with a portable typewriter perched on a chair. And so she began writing a novel about the California rivers she missed so much.
Oh God. It's giving, I'm sorry, California by Joni Mitchell. I'm like, please.
Well, you know I clocked that thesis, and I'm going to have that as the song for the carousel.
I was hoping.
She starts writing her first novel, which is Run River. And this is for my writer girlies, Tess, she didn't really have a clear way of writing. She would just write out parts and sections, and then she would pin it to her walls. And that's the way her novel came together.
Interesting.
So you have an empty apartment with just like a portable typewriter and just like parts of a novel all over.
With like a glass of whiskey, perhaps?
Probably. And like cigarettes everywhere.
I bet. But was she a smoker?
Oh, yeah. Big
Like,
smoker.
Her whole life?
Yeah, actually. I think towards the end of her life, she had like 5 cigarettes a day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just like Jackie Kennedy. It's still, everything still is flowing into each other, you know?
We're not ready to let them
Yeah,
go quite
no,
yet.
we're really not.
Okay, so during this time, while she's working on her novel, she was introduced to this man, John Gregory Dunne. He worked at Time magazine. He was a writer, and he was also kind of a self-declared outsider. But he is very different than her. They're very similar in so many ways. Writers, outsiders, but he is very like loud and like will tell you his opinion right away, and she's more like a cat, like watching from the sidelines. She was introduced to him to edit her novel, And John was the younger brother of Dominic Dune, who was a writer, investigative journalist, and a Hollywood producer who was like already in the Hollywood scene making movies. So Joan was actually dating another man at this time. And I believe it was her boyfriend who introduced her and John Gregory Dunne.
He's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, if I could go back in time, would it be doing that?
Literally. So they're introduced. He starts editing her novel, and the vibes are just strong between these two.
Instant chemistry.
I think it was instant chemistry. I think that these two were absolutely twin flames.
Hot.
They just like got each other. John later recalled at a celebratory lunch with her after he finished reading her the first galleys for her first novel, quote, while her significant other was out of town, it happened.
Oh, she was like, let's get right to it.
It's like, this fool's gone.
When the cat's away.
The mice will play. And that they did. They ended up getting married in 1964 when she was 28 years old.
Was he older than her?
He was older than her, but I don't think that much older. Actually, I don't know if he was older than her or not.
I'm almost picturing like Little Women Joe with like that older editor guy, who's like, let me help you with your book.
I will say, from my personal opinion, I think that Joan was much hotter than he was. I mean, she's just a sexy woman.
She is. She's just sexy, cool girl.
She like exudes coolness. And he did not to me.
I'm excited to see photos.
Yeah. Check out our carousel at Right Answers Mostly. So they get married in 1964 when she was 28. And it's around this time that she starts feeling really down.
She's still in New York.
She's still in New York, which I was like, well, 28 years old. She is in the swing of her Saturn return.
She's like, take me back to those rivers.
Tess, you are just spot on. That is exactly right. Like, our girl was craving to go back to the West Coast. This is what she said she was going through at this time, that she would just cry and cry until she wasn't even aware that she was crying anymore.
Honey.
I know. She like will go through it in her life. That's why I'm also like shocked she's not a Scorpio.
Wow. And her parents are still alive and living in California?
I believe so. She said, all I know is that it was very bad when I was 28. Everything that was said to me, I seemed to have heard before, and I could no longer listen. That was the year, my 28th, when I began to understand the lesson in that story, which is that it is distinctly possible to stay too long at the fair. Meaning, we got to get out of New York.
Well, God, I mean, that's a long time for someone that young when you're used to California. Like, that's a long time in New York. Like, you did it, honey.
You did it. They were ready to go. So California it was. They decide we're going to try out California for 6 months and see how that goes.
Back to Sacramento?
They actually put a ad in the Los Angeles Times. They're going to LA, baby. And the ad said, writer and wife, no child, desire house, specifically in the west side of Los Angeles.
Wait, writer and wife?
Thank you for...
Hold on.
Tess?
Because at first I thought it said writer and husband. And I was like, I love that. Wait a second.
No, literally?
Ew.
It took me till yesterday to even like clock it and be like, oh my God, writer and wife? She's working at Vogue.
What the fuck is he doing?
He's also a writer.
Oh, okay.
But still,
why not two writers?
Well, this is in the 60s. Could women even like rent a house on their own?
No, because women couldn't even get a credit card till 1972, I want to say. Don't quote me on that.
Exactly.
So I doubt you could rent it by yourself.
I know. So it's so interesting. Isn't that wording so interesting? Huh. Yeah. Well, whatever the wording was, they did end up getting a house. Have you ever heard of Portuguese Bend?
No.
Me either. Apparently it's like Palos Verdes area.
Palos Verdes is an area that I'm like, what's it all about?
What? It's the Aquarius of LA.
It is.
We said that here.
And we said it here first. Yeah, that I'm just like, I think there is some like something about it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks, from what I saw in the documentary, it looked a lot like Big Sur. That's why I was like shocked it was even LA, but it looks stunning.
I mean, it's gorgeous. That's where like everyone surfs.
Yes.
Like, that's like where like the really good surfing is.
Yes.
Apparently.
That is the vibe. So they end up moving there. The house was on a bluff overlooking the Pacific Ocean. At this point, they kind of moved to LA too, because remember John's brother Dominic is like a Hollywood producer, and they moved to LA being like, we're going to get into screenwriting immediately.
They're smart.
Yes.
They're good at marketing.
And they really wanted to get into screenwriting, but it didn't work out for them like that immediately. To make money, to pay the bills, they wrote for countless magazines. They wrote for the Saturday Evening Post, Life, Esquire magazine, and at one point they even shared a column.
Oh, that's cute.
Despite how different their styles and point of views were, they would never turn in a piece without running it by the other person too. They would constantly edit each other's work.
Wow. And this is also when you could like really get paid for writing, right?
Yes. Well, because it's like their publication was like actually a thing.
No, yeah, that's true.
I know. It's like hard to even picture that now.
Even with like Carrie, you know, in Sex and the City, you're like, okay, in the 90s, what is she getting? $100 per column?
Well, thank you for bringing up Carrie because I feel like Carrie would like love Joan Didion.
Of course. She would like think that she's similar to Joan.
100%. It's like, Carrie, you're nothing of the sort.
And like, it couldn't be more opposite, it seems like, but okay.
But I do love,
We love both of the girlies, though.
Yes, we love to hate Carrie, but we ultimately love her.
It's just fun. It's fun to make fun of her.
It is. But yeah, you could actually make money, and that they were doing from these magazine articles. But John and Joan, like I can't stress this enough, were each other's most trusted reader, which made me think about you and your Bitcoin boo.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's truly about like the way you guys like write together.
Oh yeah, I do love that.
And speaking of writing, this is how Joan Didion would start every morning, and this was her writing routine.
Oh, I'm so curious.
So she would come down to the kitchen fairly late in the morning, wearing her sunglasses. She would have an ice cold Coca-Cola from the bottle.
Like for breakfast, she'd have just like a Coca-Cola.
For breakfast, she would have an ice cold Coca-Cola. And if anyone were to take her last Coca-Cola, it would be like a really big thing. You do not touch her Coca-Cola.
I understand that.
So she would have an ice cold Coca-Cola, salted almonds. Like she would get these cans of salted almonds and cigarettes.
Was she okay?
Probably not.
Just like, it is iconic, and at the same time, I'm worried about her a little bit.
Like a little bit troubling.
A little bit.
Yeah, you hear it first and you're like, wow, chic. And they're like, well.
Yeah, someone maybe check in on her?
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah. And then she would just like write all day.
Damn, all day.
All day. So this was another funny thing that I found. When she would get writer's block, you know what she would do? She would put her transcripts in the freezer and keep it there until she got another idea.
I love that.
Isn't that so interessant?
That is, wow, that's cool.
They were doing their thing. They were writing. Now, they both did want kids, but it seems like it just wasn't possible for them. The reason was never explained. It was just that they couldn't have kids.
Yeah.
And then one day, Joan's friend brings up the conversation of adoption with Joan. And her friend had actually adopted her child, and she gave Joan and John the doctor who had delivered her own adopted child.
Oh.
I guess this was like a thing that people were having babies or leaving babies at the hospital. That's how her friend got her baby. So she gave John and Joan this doctor's number. And then in the early hours of March 3rd, 1966, they get a call. And Joan was in the shower, and she burst into tears when John came in and said he just got a call from that same doctor saying they had just delivered a beautiful baby girl at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, and they needed to know whether they wanted her or not.
Wow.
So an hour later, they stood outside the window of a nursery at St. John's looking at the baby girl. And the beads on her wrist didn't spell out her name, but NI for no information. I know. And Joan said there was no question that was their baby.
That's so sweet.
So they adopt a baby girl on March 3rd, 1966. They name her Quintana Rue Dunne after a Mexican state. It's so California white people of this time.
It is the most Claire that you could ever imagine. Just like we are connected to the Mexican culture because we're from Sacramento.
No, literally.
It's like, guys, come on sometimes.
Literally.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just spot on.
It's spot on. We're not surprised there.
Exactly. So now they have to move out of the beach house because I guess the landlord was like, well, you have a baby now? We did not agree. We didn't say writer, wife, and baby. We said writer and wife.
Oh, guys, please. Come on. It's fine.
So they have to move. And they buy a house on Franklin Avenue just below the Hollywood Hills.
Oh my God, Hollywood Hills at this time.
At this time. Well, Tess, their house, I looked it up because they had the address, is 3 minutes away from the hotel where I lived at when I first moved here.
Stop it. It's just up the hill a little bit?
No, it's like just down the street.
Oh, that's so fun.
I know. I felt like so connected to her
That's amazing.
when I read that. But yes, Hollywood at this time, where their neighborhood was actually maybe not quite what you would think. So we're in an in-between phase of Hollywood in the 60s. We're coming out of the golden years of Hollywood. It was like full of glamorous mansions, but they were all empty now. And they were all very run down.
That's interesting coming out of the golden age of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like the city didn't know what it was anymore in a way.
Tess, that is spot on.
You know?
That's I feel like you get it all more than I even do.
No, I'm just picturing it all like a movie.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And again, like, I think when we have a production company one day, we have to do a Joan Didion movie.
100%. Why isn't there one? Already, I'm just like, I can see it all.
I know.
And I love it.
So this neighborhood was full of like empty mansions, and the people that were moving in were rock and roll bands, therapy groups doing psychedelic experiments.
I bet.
And John, Joan, and Quintana.
What neighborhood?
What a neighborhood to move in with your like new child.
Did they like to do drugs?
They like to party.
Yeah.
I don't know what drugs they like to do. Like, we'll talk about this later. She goes and she is immersed in experiences where there are a lot of drugs around. And I never found accounts of her doing drugs, but watching people doing drugs. Again, she's always watching.
She's like, you seem fucked up.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm going to write everything down.
What
that
are
you're
you
doing.
on?
They move into this really big house on Franklin Avenue, not too much furniture, but it would become one of the most culturally important living rooms in the 1960s in Los Angeles.
The people that are about to get in there, huh?
Exactly. Like when they moved to Hollywood, John and Joan really get into the Hollywood scene. And this is where she stops becoming a magazine writer and becomes Joan Didion, the observer of America at its most glamorous, unstable, and artificial.
Wow.
So their house quickly became a constant flow of famous, powerful people. They hosted lots of dinner parties with filmmakers, rock and rollers, and models. John and Joan famously had one rule: you never leave a party before something ugly happens.
Wait, what?
They were like, you have to stay till the end. You have to stay to see the tension. Like, you have to stay to see what happens.
Like when people have had too much to drink and there's a little some tea.
Yes, and just exactly. So John,
God, that gives me anxiety. I'm like, please leave. I need to now leave before anything happens, or else my night is ruined.
that is like so opposite of you. You're like, I gotta go home.
Like, no, I can't see. I used to want to see it. Not anymore.
Well, that's, I think, the most Sagittarius thing about her is like, I don't want the party to be over.
Truly.
Or I have to stay till the end of the party.
And that is such a Sag.
Such a Sag. So, yeah, they wanted to see what happened when the party really got going. And she said that rock and roll people were the ideal subject for her because they would just lead their lives in front of you.
Wow.
So she does a piece on Jim Morrison, and she was just crazy about the Doors. And she said what drew her to them is that they were bad boys.
So she likes a little bad boy. Were they in an open relationship? I imagine everyone was in the 60s, but probably not. And not everyone, of course.
Such a good question. I didn't find that in my research. That didn't come up. I wish that I had a year to research her because I feel like that would be the appropriate amount of time.
You know what I could almost see her doing?
What?
Is being like, I want to watch John have sex with someone else and observe it. And like, you know, she might like that.
She's an observer. Joan Didion, like, cuckold.
She's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? What is this podcast? She's like, we were very monogamous.
But I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
You could be right about that.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Their parties were crazy. Someone once brought Janis Joplin to a party at their house on Franklin. She had just done a concert, and she wanted a brandy and Benedictine.
Who?
No, literally Benedictine.
Benedictine? Who is that?
I don't even know, but she wanted it in a water tumbler, but like brandy and some other kind of drink.
Oh, a drink.
Benedictine?
Benedictine. I don't know what that is.
Me either.
But in a tumbler.
And a tumbler. And Joan said music people never wanted ordinary drinks. They wanted sake or champagne cocktails or tequila, which is like so funny because now that's like such normal drinks for us. But think about like in the 60s.
Like getting sake is like, ooh.
Yeah.
What?
I just watched a Mad Men episode where he's like, have you ever heard of this thing before?
Wow, interesting. God, sake gives me the worst hangover imaginable, but I love the taste of it.
Yeah.
What's a girl do?
Yeah, exactly. But like I think that's just such a cool insight from that time that like all these rock and roll people.
Even like champagne. It's like, well, I'm sure champagne used to be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, she said champagne cocktails.
Like a French 75.
Like a French 75.
Yummy.
We love. And little interesting tidbit, Janis Joplin did end up dying down the street from their house at the hotel where I first lived when I moved here.
That's right. You had told me that. Damn.
I know. One of the biggest parties that they ever had, people were just like getting their cars stolen left and right at that party. And then Joan said that she went up to Quintana's room to check and make sure everything was okay. And there was drugs all over the floor.
Of the kid.
Of her daughter's room. And she was like, I was horrified to like think that someone would ever go into my daughter's room and do drugs. And I'm still not clear if Quintana was in her room or if she was gone.
That's so scary.
So scary. Like just so dark.
That it like truly when you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever you're doing, whatever drug, with like a crib next to you, you might want to check yourself.
And that's all we need to say for the rest of this episode.
Go to the bathroom. Like, my God, bring it back to just a classic line in a bathroom.
Yeah. Like, what's wrong with that?
You know?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there were just drugs everywhere. Like, again, it is the 60s.
Yeah.
So when she's living in Los Angeles, this magazine that she was writing for was in New York. So she was reporting on a lot of stuff that they weren't seeing. Because again, we have to put ourselves back in this time. We don't have social media. You can't see what's going on in the world everywhere. Yeah. So she gets assigned to do a piece on Haight-Ashbury.
Love. Back when hate was cool.
Well, exactly. So everyone is saying, like, this is the heart of the counterculture movement and free love. And so Joan gets assigned to go do a piece there. And she gets there and realizes quickly that this is not what that is. This is not free love and like everything's all good. These are kids who have lost faith in everything that they were supposed to believe in. These are runaways. These are children who are in like very dangerous situations. And sometimes Joan would get an assignment for a magazine piece and she was like, I just feel like there's so much more that I need to write that's longer than a piece. Like, I need to write a book on what I am seeing here. And so she starts thinking about doing a book and she starts working on a book of essays that will eventually be called Slouching Towards Bethlehem.
Wow.
And so Slouching Towards Bethlehem is this commentary of counterculture and hippies and everything that was going on. And so she goes and she just immerses herself in the lives of these kids and she follows them around, reporting on it. She was with runaways, teenagers on LSD, girls who were 14 years old who were high in dirty apartments. And then in the book, she was introduced to this group and taken to where they live. And here's a little part from the book. When I finally find Otto, he says, I got something at my place that will blow your mind. And when I get there, I see a child on the living room floor wearing a reefer coat, reading a comic book. She keeps licking her lips in concentration. And the only off thing about her is that she's wearing white lipstick. 5 years old, Otto says, on acid.
Oh, that makes you like feel sick.
So sick. So,
oh my God.
Like, this is like what she's finding is like what's going on there.
Damn.
But you know what's so interesting is her response to it. She was asked about how she felt when she saw this in the documentary. And she said, well, let me tell you, it was gold. That's the long and short of it. You live for moments like that if you're doing a piece.
So she was like, keep it coming.
She was like, holy shit, I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
She is like a true journalist where she can kind of like detach instead of like being like, that's heartbreaking. And she's like, more to write about.
That's exactly right, Tess. And like her style of writing was so revolutionary because it showed that you could write history of your own time, not as like facts and dates, but like as emotional truth. Like her essays were reporting, but they also read like you were reading fiction.
Wow. And that's like the perfect, I mean, if I may, that's kind of what we try to do here on Right Answers Mostly.
Tess, literally, when I like was really
like,
realizing that, I was like, again, if I may.
If we may, you guys, throw us a bone.
Exactly. It's like we relate to Joan in that way of like, let's do reporting, let's tell history and facts, but it doesn't have to be boring and it can be interesting and it can be read like in a way that it's never been read before.
Well, it can be emotional, like, and you can have emotions about it. It doesn't have to be so cold and like straightforward.
Yes.
Like, because it is all emotional. Yeah, I love that.
The famous line from Slouching Towards Bethlehem is, the center was not holding.
Damn.
Basically being like, shit is happening, you
crumbling
guys.
Before our very own eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, God, the 60s. We like also romanticize these times. And I think that's like a good point that you were like, this is not Haight-Ashbury of like, we're wearing flowers in our hair. Like, we are a dark country and the 60s were a fucking dark time.
Yes. And it's so interesting because she went to Haight-Ashbury kind of despising hippies and being like, you guys, get a job, kind of.
Right.
And then she quickly realized, oh my God, these are kids whose parents have failed them.
Yeah.
Who the system has failed them. And we're seeing this in a little bubble in California. And if we're not careful, what starts in California is going to spread to the rest of the country. So we need to look at what's going on right now.
So true. Such a good point.
I mean, this book comes out and it's just a shock to so many people. Slouching Towards Bethlehem makes her nationally famous.
Well, I mean, as it should. I'm fascinated.
And then, Tess, in August of 1969, the violence came to Los Angeles. This is from Joan Didion's book, The White Album. Many people I know in Los Angeles believe that the 60s ended abruptly on August 9th, 1969. Ended at the exact moment when the word of the murders on Cielo Drive traveled like brush fire through the community. And in a sense, that is true. The tension broke that day. The paranoia was fulfilled. Do you know what she's talking about?
The Manson murders?
That's exactly right, Tess. Another Ram episode.
Wow, a really good episode. Also an OG favorite.
An OG favorite. So Joan was at her sister-in-law's house in the pool one day, and the phone rang. Her sister-in-law goes to answer. It's Natalie Wood. Another Ram episode.
We have covered it all.
That's what I'm saying. We have covered it all.
We have been working for 5 years, haven't we?
Yeah, we really have. So Natalie Wood called to tell them that this terrible thing had happened before. Sharon Tate had been murdered at her house. And this completely shakes Hollywood. I mean, it shakes the world, but it's like Sharon Tate and the Folger, like she is in the industry. It's all these people's friends, you know?
I feel like we can't even, we're so like numb to things now, you know, and like have social media and everything. But like imagine if, well, I mean, we kind of saw a version of this happen last year with, what's his
Rob
name?
Reiner?
Yeah.
Oh, that was this year.
Oh, was it this year?
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
God.
like 2 months ago.
That was crazy. And everyone obviously reacted to that in Hollywood. That was a huge thing. Imagine in like 1969, a movie star getting murdered.
Exactly. And like a young, pregnant movie
Oh
star.
my God, I always forget that she's pregnant.
She's so pregnant.
It's so dark.
Yeah. I mean, it just completely shakes everyone. And then Joan is assigned to interview Linda Kasabian. Now, Linda Kasabian, again, go back and listen to our Manson murder episodes, was a member of the Manson family. She was present on the night of the Sharon Tate murders. She didn't commit any of the murders herself because she was the lookout.
That's right. Oh my God, that episode's so good.
And Linda tells Joan something in the interview that is so haunting. She said, we actually went by your house that night.
Stop it.
Yes.
To kill her? Or
To lurk.
to see what celebrities were there and
Yes,
stuff?
they knew like where the celebrities lived, what they were doing. And she said that we actually stopped by your house that night.
What do you even do if someone tells you that? Do you move? Do you get a security guard?
Like, I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know. And then you have to like stick with this person and just like hear their story. Like Joan spends so much time with Linda when she's in jail before she testified. Joan attends the trial for the Manson murders. Like she's reporting on it all. And so then she writes her book of essays called The White Album, which captured the psychological atmosphere of the late 1960s America. And she wrote about the aftermath of the Manson murders, not just the crime, but what it meant psychologically.
Why is it called The White Album? Like the Beatles?
Yes, because if you remember from our Manson murders episode, he calls it Helter Skelter.
That's right.
The prophecy, and that's from the White Album. She also comments just like about, well, Los Angeles in the 60s, but what was going on culturally. She also writes an essay titled Girl of the Golden West, which was an analyst of Patty Hearst.
Another goddamn Ram episode.
It's just like Joan is so Ram-coded.
She is like mama.
She is mama.
She is our maybe Ram mother looking over us, isn't she?
Wow.
Like out of everyone, kind of.
Maybe that's why we feel so connected.
Perhaps.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So she writes she published the White Album, and it's just the sense that nowhere was safe. And this dark time was also very present in Joan's personal life.
Oh no, John. John, what'd you do?
We are going to talk about what was going on in Joan's personal life after our break. So come back. Okay, we are back. So the 60s are crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy culturally and they're crazy personally for Joan.
Oh no.
So she begins experiencing some strange physical and psychological symptoms. She had episodes of vertigo. She also experiences emotional disassociation. This sounds like hell. So she feels detached from reality. She later describes feeling like she was watching herself from outside of her body.
Oh God.
It makes me feel so uneasy.
I mean, that truly does happen to people.
Yes.
Like, why? This kind of just came. I mean, if someone told me, like, you're about to be murdered in your family, maybe this just naturally is the next step. But, like, what is going on?
I mean, I think she always struggled with a little bit of depression and anxiety. I also do think the Manson murders, like, And I've only read sections of the White Album. I can't wait to like really get into it, but I really think it affected her. She like talked about this one thing about how she bought a dress for her wedding day and Roman Polanski ended up spilling wine on it one day and so it was ruined. And then during writing the White Album, she went and bought Linda Kasabian's dress for the trial. And so she was like, we're all connected in these ways. Like, I think she was kind of spiraling after the murders.
Of course, like just getting like freaked out about it all.
Getting so freaked out. I feel like Hollywood was just a really dark place in general at this time,
I would be freaking out too. On the brim.
On the brim.
Truly, I'd be like, I don't want to live here anymore.
Yeah. And so she was just really struggling. A quote that she said in the White Album that I'm just like, damn, she said, I was supposed to have a script and I had mislaid it. And I feel like with depression in your life, that's exactly how it feels almost.
Wow. Damn.
I was supposed to have a script and I mislaid it. So she's going through it. And in 1969, she's actually hospitalized. Doctors evaluate her psychological state and she's diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and emotional fragility.
Oh.
Emotional fragility, I'm like...
I mean, like, diagnose me with that. I should be diagnosed with that. Was she able to get on medication? Was this a time where they were like, here's an anti-anxiety
I feel
option?
like if it was medication, it wasn't anti-anxiety. It was like the uppers and the downers. You know what I mean?
It's like, let's drill something into your skull vibe still, probably.
Well, that's why I'm so grateful that Joan is in the 60s and not in the 30s and the 40s.
I mean, truly, I feel like 20 years before this, it would have been a different story.
It would have been a completely different story. And like, I'm glad that she had an outlet of like writing and was surrounded by creative people that she could work through it that way. And John and Joan were really struggling at this time as well. She said he had a horrible temper, like anything would set him off.
John, I had better hopes for you, honey. Or actually, no, I didn't. Because of what you said in the newspaper. I won't forgive him.
Yeah, it's so interesting because he kind of seemed pretty obnoxious. Like everyone was like, she was really cool. He would like finish her sentences. He kind of seems like, to be honest, like a star fucker in a way, and was like, I gotta be the loudest in the room and I gotta let you know how I feel.
That's annoying.
I agree, but like they were just connected in a way that's kind of indescribable to me.
You know, like what that dynamic also reminds me of. Sorry for all like the references, but You've Got Mail. You know Meg Ryan's boyfriend, who she's like with the whole time. He's also a writer, and he's always like, such a star fucker.
That's how it feels.
What's his name? Greg Kinnear? Is that
Greg
actor?
Kinnear. Oh.
I'm picturing him kind of, but not as attractive as Greg, because he has the razz. He's like cute.
Greg Kinnear?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's so cute.
He's very cute.
The last song, you guys know, I love the last song.
He is the dad in the last song.
In the last song.
Yeah, he's a cutie pie.
Song. Yeah,
but not John.
And she really loved him, but they were really struggling at this point. They go to Hawaii at one point.
Sometimes because they're in California, it's a quicker flight.
Well, she ends up writing in the White Album and the essay in the islands. She's setting the scene of where they are, and she says, we are here on the island in the middle of the Pacific in lieu of filing for a divorce.
Do you think she was still giving her work to him to be like, I approve this or not?
He not only read it, he edited it.
Oh God, how dark! Oh man,
I think this is how they like worked out their problems, was through editing each other's writing.
But that's kind of like beautiful in a way,
isn't it? Kind of beautiful.
Like, this is what I'm feeling. Read it, edit it. We don't have to like be combative about it. Send it back to me. Let's have a moment. I'm like, is this how everyone should deal with their problem?
They are so. Writers of the 60s. You know what I mean?
They're very much like, the art is heartbreak and heartache. And if there is not an issue, we can't be good writers.
I kind of feel that way.
A little bit of that. Which is like what even people, I think, still grapple with today.
Yeah.
Of like, can art be just art without it having to be this like emotional, tortured thing?
Right. Exactly. But it definitely was, especially at this time, a tortured thing.
Tortured Poets Department.
Wow.
If you will.
And I will. And I will. So yeah, they worked in the same room. They read each other's drafts. And I feel like it was because of this that they were able to move forward with each other.
Whew.
And like writing is just what moves her forward in general.
Yeah.
Because after this experience, she writes Play It As It Lays, which is right here.
God, you have all of them.
I do. I'm borrowing this one from someone. But this, yeah.
This is what, if Claire doesn't tell me exactly who, I'm like, what are you keeping from me?
Who?
What are you hiding?
But you know who.
I do. Okay. I like that.
Play It As It Lays was actually my first Joan Didion book that I read. And it's not a book of essays like the White Album and like Slouching towards Bethlehem. It's a narrative fiction story.
Chic.
However, And it's like pretty much understood that the main character is supposed to be Joan. So Play It As It Lays is about this actress living in Los Angeles who is psychologically detached, emotionally numb, and drifting through life.
That was our experience when we first got to LA.
No, literally until probably like 2 years ago. I'm like, just put that in my Instagram bio.
Just drifting through life, honey.
Yes, and eventually this does get made into a movie, but it ends up being not what Joan wanted it to be. She wrote the screenplay for it, but it's like ends up being a kind of trash movie, which is such a shame.
Imagine if we could remake that today.
Tess, I would love to.
Who would you cast in it? Who'd be the lead?
Such a good question. Well, I think I would know who I would want to direct. Well, honestly, it'd be cool to have like a new up and coming female director, but if it were someone more established, I think I would choose Sofia Coppola.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
I think we need the vibes.
Oh, yes, that's good.
But as a lead woman, I mean, Kirsten Dunst.
Say no more.
Kirsten and Sophia.
We should pitch it to them.
I think, well,
How do
I
you-
swear to God, if the Hollywood Reporter comes out,
It's trademarked.
I also will be so upset if after this episode comes out, it's like Ryan Murphy announces a Joan Didion show.
Look at me right now, Ryan Murphy. Look at me in my eyes. Don't touch this, okay? You can take it all, but don't touch this.
No touchy.
No touchy. We're gonna do something even cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
With love and light.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
Same. Love that.
So it's a huge success for her. And at this time, they end up moving to Malibu.
Oh,
But it's not the Malibu that we know today. It's not Yolanda Hadid in Malibu.
with all the lemons.
With all the limits. No, it is like... It's,
The cleanse.
It's surfers, it's shacks, like it's that kind of vibe.
Hot.
Yeah,
Sexy.
but exactly. But they do live in like a really great house in Malibu. In fact, Harrison Ford was a carpenter at the time, and he built Joan and John's house in Malibu.
What episode did we talk about Harrison Ford on Ram that he was a carpenter? We were
Natalie
shook.
Wood?
Yes, it was Natalie Wood.
Okay, yes.
I mean, yeah, I'm picturing it. I'm
He was-
picturing Harrison Ford chopping some wood for Joan.
Can you imagine? Well, first of all, you're a carpenter being that hot, like a young Harrison Ford, my God.
Coming in with like jeans and a white t-shirt, being like, so let's start right here. What's that made out of?
We got some maple wood that we're going to make this deck for you. I'd be like, I don't know why I gave Harrison Ford that accent, but
All men have this accent in a way when they're tapping wood.
yes. And so he would spend,
So to speak.
and he would spend like so much time with Joan and John. He ended up spending like Easter with Joan and John. He was also interviewed in the doc,
Did
but
she love him?
not like romantic love.
Okay. How can you not?
Also, that's what I'm saying. Imagine that your carpenter's that hot, and then one day you're like going to the movies, and Harrison Ford's in Star Wars.
Wow. Because he got famous later in life, right? He was like
did.
mid-30s or something?
Apparently, like he was a carpenter. This isn't a Harrison Ford episode, and we're right answers mostly, but I think he was working on a casting director's house, and then she sent him in for an audition that I think got him Star Wars.
She was like, I know the Raz when I see it. And you better get in there.
And you, sir, have the Raz.
Wow.
So he was their carpenter in Malibu, and their Malibu house was like their Hollywood house where they would have dinner parties. It was the party house to go to. Everyone showed up. Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Warren Beatty.
The original Sunday night dinners
In Malibu.
in Malibu.
Talk about it, Tess.
We can't, but we talk about it in premium
On
sometimes.
premium. Courtney Cox's Malibu
Yeah.
dinners. I'll say it.
Claire's been.
Yeah.
And that's cool, you guys. That's a real fucking legacy.
But that's for premium. So
That
join
is.
$7.99, 3 bonus episodes a month.
In the show notes.
Well, apparently Warren Beatty had a huge crush on Joan.
Oh, really?
And it was like very open. Like he would ask to sit by her like at the table, at the dinner table in front of John. But John found it like very amusing.
Well, he was just doing everyone left and right. This is before Annette Bening, or probably still with Annette Bening.
Well,
I feel like
great
he was not a
question.
faithful man.
I think this was in the 70s, so I think this was before Annette Bening.
Yep. Good for her. What an honor.
Exactly. So it was a very creatively hot environment. Like everyone was talking about movies and arguing about movies. And John and Joan, again, you know, they wanted to be screenwriters. So they are just like trying to soak all of this up. And then one day she reads this book called The Panic in Needle Park. And she was like, this has to be a movie. Like I'm reading it as a movie. This has to be a movie. So at this time, you had to go to the producers and describe the movie in one sentence. And their sentence for this movie would be, it's Romeo and Juliet, but for junkies.
Whoa.
The Panic in Needle Park.
Whoa. Yeah. I should put that two and two together.
Yeah. John and Joan start working on this screenplay, and how they would write, one of them would write the first draft, and then the other would write the second draft. so on and so forth. And by the end, you couldn't tell really who wrote what.
Oh, that's fun.
I
That
know.
would kind of give me anxiety, but that is cool.
It's
I respect it.
They're just so collaborative.
Yeah.
So they make The Panic in Needle Park. It was a pretty big movie. And Tess, their biggest screenplay that they did together was A Star is Born in 1976 with Barbra Streisand.
They wrote that screenplay?
Joan Didion wrote that screenplay.
Wait, I had no idea.
Isn't she so cool?
Wait, original screenplay?
No, well, so they had, this was the second adaptation.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Because I think Judy Garland was the first.
Okay, wow, that's iconic. Wow.
And it's like, wow, she's written essays, she's written screenplays, she's written fiction.
And she finally got her dream to do a screenplay and like a movie that iconic.
Exactly.
Good for her. I'm proud of her.
Same. But something that she had not touched before that she was starting to find a lot of interest in was politics.
I thought you were going to say something like she wanted to start singing or like music. And I was like, Joan, let's just no.
Let's not. No, she did love acting. That was something when she was a young girl, she found like helped her with her social anxiety.
Oh, that's
she
so
loved the movie.
sweet.
She was like in love with John Wayne and stuff. But no, she knew where
Okay,
she...
not like it's bad for someone to take up singing, but you know, sometimes it's just like a jump scare. Oh, but politics, hot.
After years of documenting psychological instability in California, she began to notice the same instability in American politics.
Well, yeah.
So she started writing about domestic politics. She never covered politics before. It didn't really interest her. I feel like it was in this time too where it was like, she almost felt, I feel like, too cool for it.
Totally. But then it's like the 70s and it's like, we got to talk about it.
And then the 80s.
Yeah.
Where Reagan starts coming in. And she saw through Reagan immediately. She also clocked that thesis on Dick Cheney very early on, which I think is iconic. This is what she said about Dick Cheney. He reached public life with every reason to believe that he would continue to both court failure and overcome it. Take the lemons he seemed determined to pick for himself and make the lemonade, then spill it and let someone else clean it up.
And I mean, say no more, Joan.
And this was revolutionary in her writing style because as a woman looking at men and not looking away, Joan Didion reversed the standard male-female deal while developing the Didion gaze.
That's so, I mean, so powerful. Like,
Yeah.
no words.
Just to have a woman like out in the field reporting on like what men were doing instead of women like being interpreted and defined. She's like, I'm actually going to go see what these men are doing and write about it and tell the truth about it.
But also saying like holding the gaze of being like, no, I'm still looking at you and what you're doing. And I'm going to make you a little uncomfortable by not looking away and just being like, it's fine. It's just boys. Like, she's like, I'm looking at you, kid.
Yes, exactly, Tess.
I love that.
I just think it's so iconic. So in 1988, John and Joan actually moved back to New York because John was restless.
John,
I feel that way too.
just like stay in California.
I know. I know.
I mean, New York is great. But,
Yeah.
you know, I like their California life.
Well, apparently Quintana was also there.
I was like, who? I forgot about her.
Like, we only have so much time. But their daughter was there. And again, like Joan and John were almost always together. He was the baffle between her and the world at large, is what they said.
Damn. Do you think she like didn't have a lot of girlfriends?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that vibe, and that's okay.
Yeah. That's what
Observation.
I think it's like hard for me because I almost want to put her in a box of being one way, and she's not that way.
You think that with like all these attributes and things that she's interested in. It's like she's a girl's girl and she's like always with women, but I think she's kind of like she's really obsessed with John, it feels like.
I think she's really obsessed with John, and I think she's a loner.
Totally, and they both have codependency with each other.
100%. So, on Christmas Eve, 2003, Quintana had been too sick to come to dinner.
Oh.
So Christmas morning, she calls and she says that she can barely breathe.
Oh.
She had gone to the emergency room the night before, but whatever she was dealing with was back again. And by the time she had gotten to the hospital, she was near death.
What happened?
They originally thought it was something not that serious, like the flu, but all of a sudden she was in the ICU. So I'm not really sure exactly what was going on.
Oh, God.
But so Quintana is in like a really serious condition. And people said that like they had just never seen John like that before. He was beside himself. He was distraught.
Yeah.
And so then on December 30th, 2003, John and Joan are sitting down to dinner in their New York apartment. And it was an ordinary night. Their daughter Quintana was still in the hospital. She's very sick. They had just come back from visiting her. And then Joan goes to the kitchen and John is sitting at the table. And then suddenly, John was talking, and then he wasn't. His left hand was raised, and he was slumped motionless. And Joan said, "Don't do that." Like, I don't know if his body just went in this weird way. He didn't respond, so she thought that he had choked on something. So she tries to lift him up to do the Heimlich, but he falls onto the table because she's a small woman. He's much too heavy for her. He had had a heart attack in an instant. Joan had watched it happen, and the man she had built her entire adult life with was gone in seconds.
Oh my God, the chills. Oh, for her to have to see that happen and just out of nowhere. I mean, I guess that's how heart attacks,
Yeah.
happen. Like, shocking.
Yeah, and he wasn't just her husband. He was her collaborator, her intellectual partner. Meanwhile, Quintana is still alive, but critically ill. And this is what makes this period especially brutal because Joan is having to start grieving her husband while simultaneously caring for her dying daughter.
Oh my God. I can't. Oh my God.
So Quintana briefly improves and she is discharged from the hospital. But obviously, Joan is like deep in grief right now.
Yeah.
And as we know, the only way she can really process her grief is by writing. It wasn't just about death, it was about what her brain did after he died. Because even though she knew he was dead, she could not get rid of his shoes. Because she was like, well, he might need them when he comes back. Like, she could not let go of his stuff. And so she would later call her brain's refusal to accept reality, she would call it magical thinking. And so she begins writing The Year of Magical Thinking in 2004. Like that feeling where your brain just can't accept that it actually happened.
Oh my gosh.
And no one actually knows that she's writing this book. She had written as grief as a reporter and as a character, but never personally. In the book of Magical Thinking, she says, grief turns out to be a place none of us know until we reach it. And she said the hardest thing about writing this book was finishing it because as long as she was writing it, she was still connected to him.
Oh, I'm going to cry. Oh, that's so devastating. Oh, Joan.
I've always heard like The Year of Magical Thinking, you think like, oh my God, that's going to be like such a beautiful, bright book. And it's like, wow, that is magical thinking.
Like they're coming back and like I still like want to keep them with me in some way. It's like denial, but it's like beautiful to help you. Oh my God.
It's like the only thing that can like kind of get you through at that time.
But then it's like at what point do you kind of have to be like, he's not coming back, and like I need to finish this and like kind of close. Oh my God.
Exactly. Oof. And then Tess, Quintana wanted to go back to Malibu. Where she was raised.
My God, who wouldn't?
Exactly. She was like, I just need a reset. And Joan really encourages her to do so. When Quintana got off the plane in LA, she fell and hit her head. And she thought she was okay, but it turns out she had a brain injury that sent her into a coma.
Oh my God.
So Quintana has to do 2 years of rehabilitation, but she continued to struggle with health issues, including a severe case of pneumonia that turned into septic shock. And at the end, she lost the will to fight back, and her health rapidly declined, and she died in the summer of 2005 at age 39. The Year of Magical Thinking is published just weeks after Quintana dies.
No.
It's one of the most haunting details.
That I truly can't.
I have the chills.
No, I do too.
It's just horrible. It wins the National Book Award, but Joan later says at this time success meant nothing because the person she most wanted to share it with was gone. So interesting.
Like a cigarette.
Literally.
We don't smoke, but just for
just to take the edge off.
Just for Joan. Just for Joan. Oh my God.
So her husband and her daughter died within 2 years of each other while she's writing this book of grief.
You can't write that shit.
No.
So to speak. Like, that is crazy. That is, like, unreal.
Unbearable.
So
A Year of Magical Thinking becomes one of the most important grief memoirs ever written. She later writes Blue Nights about losing her daughter and aging.
I don't think I should read that.
I
already feel sick.
On the brim.
I'm on the brim.
So young readers discover her for the first time, and people who had never lived through the 1960s or the Manson era now connect to her through grief, and she becomes timeless because of The Year of Magical Thinking.
People still that's like the number one book that people give out if you just lost someone or a pet. Like, that is like the go-to.
Did you see Brittany Snow talking about it?
Yes, after her dog died, right?
Yes, and she said it was so nice because it's not being like, this is how you get through it and like it's all going to be okay. It's like you're just sitting in grief with somebody and they're like, she's vocalizing the things that you can't even vocalize yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So in 2007, she actually adapts magical thinking into a Broadway play. But during this period of time, she became physically smaller and weaker. At one point, she weighed 75 pounds. And so the play, the person that she put the play on with, he was like, I'm going to do this with you, but I actually need you to get healthy. And he said, like, this play really kind of brought her back to life. I think it gave her like this meaning again. And then Joan Didion was awarded the 2012 National Humanities Medal by President Barack Obama in a ceremony on July 10th, 2013.
Wow.
She was honored for her exceptional work in literature and cultural criticism. In 2015, at age 80, she became the face of Celine.
Nothing is more chic and nothing is more iconic.
You guys, check out our carousel because this photo is unreal.
It's everything. And it's so cool of Celine to be like, we're not going to give this to a 20-year-old typical model. Like, beautiful things keep happening in your life throughout every decade. Like, I love that.
Like, we know cool when we see it, and it is Joan
and
Didion.
It's you.
Yes. So the image goes viral, and then people our age become obsessed with her because she represents something rare. A woman who never performed youth, never performed likability, never softened herself for public approval. She simply existed as herself.
I'm obsessed with her.
I know. So Joan Didion did die from complications of Parkinson's disease at her home in Manhattan on December 23rd, 2021 at the age of 87.
She had Parkinson's?
She did. And I wanted to end the episode with a excerpt from her essay titled On Keeping a Notebook. See enough and write it down, I tell myself. And then some morning when the world seems drained of wonder, someday when I'm only going through the motions of doing what I'm supposed to do, on that bankrupt morning, I will simply open my notebook, and there it will all be, a forgotten account with accumulated interest, paid passage back to the world out there, and it all comes back. Remember what it is to be me. That is always the point.
Oh, God.
And that's Joan Didion.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I love her. I love her.
A forgotten account with accumulated interest. I think that's so interesting.
Wow. It really just makes you be like, keep a journal about everything, doesn't it? Like, your life is more interesting than you think it is.
Yes.
You'll always want to go back to like your experiences and your feelings.
Well, that's a forgotten memory with accumulated interest. It's like you'll go read something from 2 years ago and have a whole other perspective.
Wow. It's very inspiring. I mean, she's so inspiring.
She is so inspiring to be yourself, to watch the world, to put your thoughts down, to not change for anyone, to like carve out your own space.
And like a good lesson in observing too. You know, because I think sometimes it's like, even for myself, I'm like, if I'm around new people or in a big group, it's like you have to say the thing to get respect or to like make people know that you have an opinion. It's like observing is powerful, and just to like lean into that a little bit more. I feel like that's what I'm taking away from it.
I love that. I love that.
I love her. You did such a good job.
Thanks.
I love starting like the month with that because I just feel like she's just such a Ram icon.
She's such a Ram icon. She is Ram mother, isn't she?
She really is, mama.
Yeah. The journalist of it all.
Yes.
The crossovers. It is. She's always watching. She is always watching.
Damn, that's for sure. Oh, I'm obsessed with her.
So Ramies, welcome to Women's History Month.
We're so happy to be here.
We're so happy to be here. If you are new here, make sure and follow us on all of our socials at Right Answers Mostly. And if you're wanting more of us, you can join our premium channel where you get 3 bonus episodes a month. So you get a full history episode, a pop culture episode, and then some personal gossip for us.
That's where you can hear about Claire going to Courtney Cox's house for dinner every Sunday.
There you go. There you go. $7.99. And we love you, Ramies, and we're going to be back with some amazing episodes this month. So stick around.
Buckle up. We love you.
Bye-bye.